Today we're making beef with a Brazilian flair as we do Churrasco de Picanha. We're going to start off with a tri-tip. Now normally in Brazil they would use what they call a rump cover or a rump cap. That cut's not available in this country, so we're going to go with tri-tip. It'll work just fine. These skewers, if you do a search on the internet, you'll find that there's a website that sells these. You can buy 1 or 100. They're a supplier for restaurants. Now we're going to start out with our tri-tip. Make sure you get one that's untrimmed. You want this fat cap on here. I'm going to take a very sharp knife and we're just going to go across and score this in both directions. Now you want to cut through the fat and just barely into the meat. You don't want to cut too deep into the meat. Now once you've scored it that direction, just turn it, do it in the other direction. Okay, now we're going to flip our meat over. On the back side, you want to score it, but you want to do it very lightly. We'll be cutting this into steaks in a minute, but we need it scored for a very important reason. Now that we've got it all scored, we're going to take rock salt and rub it into the meat on both sides. Now, you're going to have rock salt for this. You can't use coarse or regular salt. This rock salt does two things. It flavors the meat, but it also retains the heat as a mineral. So what it does is forms a crust on the outside of this beef like nothing you've ever tasted before. It's absolutely incredible. Typically, in a Brazilian restaurant, they will walk around with these skewers of beef and they'll slice it off for you. Then they return it back to the grill after they put the salt back on it, and they get the crust back on there again. That's actually what you're looking for. Now when we load this onto the skewer, we're going to start with the widest end first. You'll see how we double this over when we put it onto the skewer. Now the theory behind this is that if you have the largest chunks of meat at the bottom of the skewer and the smaller chunks of meat at the top of the skewer, then when the meat cooks, the smaller pieces will cook faster than the larger pieces. This means that if you want meat that's rare, you take it off the bottom of the skewer. If you want meat that's well done or cooked more, let's say, you take it off the end of the skewer. Like I say, we're going to push this through and we're going to double the meat over so that the fat cap's on the outside and the meat is on the bottom. With that done, let's move out to our Char-Griller DUO. Now in order for this to be authentic, we have to cook it over chunk wood charcoal. We can't use briquettes. This charcoal burns very hot. It burns pretty fast. You're going to want to start your fire early so you get a nice gray bed of embers. We've just taken our skewer and balanced it across the handles on our ashtray. You'll find that if you have the rotisserie mount on the gas side of your DUO, as I do, that you can actually put the point of the skewer into that rotisserie mount and you can balance this. You can turn it and it'll stay in the position you turn it in. Okay, we've got that lovely crust on the outside of our meat. We've got it cooked just the way we want it. It's going to be medium rare on the thick end and closer to well done on the small end. We plated this up with some plantains and fancy rice and a little avocado. Hope you enjoy this as much as I do.